Just Baseball show is live. Thank you for joining us on so many different platforms. Shout out the Just Baseball crew for making sure that we're available on so many different platforms. Audio-wise, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a weird third-party audio that maybe you have, maybe you don't. Thanks for joining us on video, live on X, live on YouTube, or, of course, with our friends at SportsGrid. Today, I am going to throw a whole bunch of hot takes I have for this MLB season at Aram Leighton, and we'll see how he feels about them all. I'm excited to do all of that. I've got takes about teams. I've got takes about players. I've got takes about pitchers and how they stack up historically. A future Hall of Famer, what he may do for the very first time this year. We'll start with that. But before that, Mr. Aram Leighton, we are on the doorstep of history. And you, me, and Peyton Genius were literally 10 seconds ago just workshopping calls for J.J. Weatherholt if he gets hit for the 6th consecutive game on Tuesday night. Literally never happened before in big league history. He's been hit by a pitch in 5 straight ball games.
It's amazing. It's really unfortunate. I mean, it's tough. I think it's clear what pitchers are trying to do to J.J. Weatherholt here early in the season as they're starting to see, his swing tendencies. Let's try to get inside to J.J., and they're not executing it great. The thing with J.J., and I think what's abundantly clear, and this is how you fend off these types of things, is one, get to all different pitch types, and he still can. And two, not back off the plate and be ready and just happily wear it. So, yeah, I hope you're ready for the call when we potentially get history. I'm not rooting for him to get hit, but if he gets like a little spinning breaking ball, like at 80 on the back foot, would be pretty funny. And I hope you embrace the moment as the guy that's going to be calling it.
That's what he got on a Monday night. It was literally a back foot slider on an 0-2 count as the first hitter of the ball game. But I apologize. He would not be breaking an MLB record. He would be tying Carlos Quentin in 2008 for the longest stretch. By the way, Carlos Quentin, amazing. If you don't remember him, White Sox. And he was like the first guy to succumb to the Devin Williams thing where, like, I think he broke a hand by punching a bench or something in the dugout. And that's what wiped his season out when he was amazing. So benches and walls, they're just undefeated.
They will always win. You won't win. Stop trying.
Stop trying. Of course, the Just Baseball show is brought to you, as always, by BetMGM. Baseball Bet Fest is your best bet for a shot at a big prize. Opt into the Baseball Bet Fest leaderboard and start placing your MLB bets of at least $10 with minimum odds of plus 100. The greater the odds, the more leaderboard points you'll win if your bet hits. How it works: opt into the promotion in the promotion section of BetMGM's app. Start placing your MLB bets of at least $10 with minimum odds of plus 100. The greater the odds, the more leaderboard points you'll win if your bet hits. Top 50 players will win their share of the $100,000 prize pool. $25,000 goes to first place. Remember to use promo code JustBaseball when you join to unlock it all. Again, this is hot take theater for us. I put together a whole bunch of takes, and I just want to throw them at you and see if you think I've got the tinfoil hat on or if you're starting to see the validity of what I'm throwing at you. And we might as well waste no time. I want to get into the first one, and it pertains to one of the best players that we have seen in this generation. Jose Ramirez is approaching these amazing, amazing milestones over the course of his career. The Cleveland Guardians third baseman has been the best third baseman in baseball for quite some time, and that's body of work. That's year over year. J-Ram entering play on Tuesday is at 291 career home runs and 297 career stolen bases. 9 homers, 3 stolen bases away. He would become just the second infielder ever to do that. The only other one, A-Rod. Thank you very much, Peyton Genius, Big League Analysis. But the take I have for you, Jose Ramirez over the course of his career has flirted with an elusive club, and he has never entered. He has never had the velvet rope lifted up, and he has gotten in. In 2018, as a 25-year-old, J-Ram hit 39 homers and stole 34 bases. In 2021, 36 homers, 27 bases. But he's gotten closer and closer. In 2024, 39 home runs and 41 stolen bases. In 2025, 30 homers, 44 stolen bases. Jose Ramirez, through 24 games, has hit 6 homers, and he's 10 for 10 in the stolen base department. He is the only guy at double-digit stolen bases in Major League Baseball so far this season. So, Aram Leighton, the first take I have for you today is that this is finally the year that Jose Ramirez joins the 40-40 club. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if we're going like hot take theater, this should be like the low. I know we're not chronologically going in order. I don't know if chronological is even the right word there, but I don't know if we're going in order from low, medium,
Severity.
high.
Yeah.
Severity. Yeah. I'm with you. Because I think the big variable here, especially with the new stolen base rules, really since we've adjusted those sides of things, like J-Ram looks like he's pretty auto for 40. Or at least, it's going to have the intent, or if he's close enough. You can go get the bags when you're close. You can't just go get the homers when you're close to 40-40. So the biggest thing is the homers. And, I think the question would be, when you average out the last 4 seasons, odds are he'd be a little bit shy in the home run department. But he's off to such a good start this year that I think it really catapults him into a position here where he can go do it. And again, we talk about the lineup. It's better than it's been in recent years. A little bit more protection here all of a sudden. I feel weird calling a rookie like Chase DeWater protection, but just even like a Brian Rocchio swinging it better and getting on base at a way higher clip. Just guys, more traffic is good for J-Ram. I think he does it. I'm with you. I like that call out.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just looking at Jose Ramirez and I'm thinking you are going to hunt corners. And he's at the point in his career where, like, okay, he may not be getting into the crazy exit velocities and he still will get into really solid EVs, but I'm just looking at him aging like fine wine. J-Ram is 33 years old. He turns 34 on September 17th. So he's 33 for practically the whole entire year. But Jose Ramirez, it just seems like he is mastering angles right now. And what he does year over year is incredible to me, man. I mean, an 850 OPS at the outset this year, but 863 in 25, 872 in 24, 831 in 2023. He's got a career 857 OPS. And every single freaking season, he's right around that number. He's the most consistent player in baseball, I think.
100%. And he's just so much fun to watch. I think the coolest thing, too, is he would be the oldest player to join the 40-40 club. Barry Bonds was 32, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another really cool wrinkle at 33, because this would be his age 33 season, right? Yeah, I mean, he'll be 34 by the end of it. Jose would be the oldest to join that 40-40 club, which is a very, honestly, athletic-driven club, given that you have to go get 40 bags.
Yeah. How many other guys do you feel like in baseball right now can threaten with the 40-40 club this year? I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. has, 9 bags at this point, but he may not even get to the home run output right now. There are very few stars and superstars in Major League Baseball that have 40-40 capabilities. And the guys that do, a lot of them are off to really slow starts. Honestly, The other one that I would give you, like, best shot from me, Ellie De La Cruz in Cincinnati. That's the other one alongside J-Ram that I'm saying, like, you have a legit shot at 40-40 right now.
And O'Neal Cruz would probably be the ugliest. I'm so harsh, but like the weirdest 40-40 we've ever seen. Yeah, because I would go Tatis. Tatis doesn't have a homer yet, so like it's going to be tough for him. I think it's Ellie, especially with the right side coming along the way that it has. And the only other guy that I think could do it without a problem, even starting behind the 8 ball, is Ronald Acuna Jr. He could just have 2 months that pretty much close the gap. But yeah, I think Jazz would have been a call out. He has 0 homers, so I think it's Bobby. I think it's O'Neal, and then I think it's Ellie De La Cruz, and those are the only guys that I think have a very realistic shot this year.
Really cool note from Peyton here. The only players to have 300 or more homers and 300 or more stolen bases in their career by the end of their age 33 season, so effectively by age the quickest guys to do it, Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonds. Jose Ramirez is a shoo-in to meet them and join that club. That is crazy to think about. Yeah. Can I throw you one more like sicko name here? Could CJ Abrams flirt with it or no? I think Abrams can flirt with 30-30 right now, but he's got the power speed combo working right now. Abrams through 22 games, hitting 312 with 6 homers and 5 bags.
30-30, yeah. I mean, look, anything's possible. I don't know if I could see Abrams going 40. I think that'd be pretty crazy.
I don't think so either. So again, Jose Ramirez, we're talking about a guy that is going to be a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Unanimity needs to, we need to get rid of the veil of unanimity where like only 2 or 3 guys are unanimous first ballot Hall of Famers, because if there is any voter at the point that J-Ram's career is said and done that does not vote for J-Ram to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, we need to go through a vetting process. You need to, go through like a referral or a review process and see what happens there. But that's what we got on Jose Ramirez. I'm going to pivot this into an American League MVP conversation in a moment because, spoiler alert, I really don't think it's a shoo-in that Mr. Aaron Judge is the American League MVP again. That's coming up next. Just Baseball Show continues. We just spent the first 10 minutes of the program on Jose Ramirez and his quest for 40-40. I also think that he's going to be in the conversation for the American League MVP. I also think Yordan Alvarez is going to be in the conversation for the American League MVP. The way Ben Rice is swinging it right now, he's in that conversation until proven otherwise. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge, but it feels like every single year we go about proclaiming Judge and Ohtani as the MVPs until proven otherwise. I think Ohtani is the MVP in the National League until proven otherwise. There could be guys that, entertain that and rise up the leaderboards. But right now, I think the American League MVP race, this is my second take for you, is way more wide open than anybody wants to think it is.
I think so. And I think something that I talked about going into the season, I do think there's just going to be a little bit of voter fatigue with Judge. I think, and that's not fair. I'm acknowledging that it's not fair, but Ohtani, you can't really get fatigued towards because he's just doing something so outwardly unmatched, assuming he's doing both all the time. But when it's, corner guy putting up ridiculous numbers, it could start to get watered down by other corner guy putting up ridiculous numbers a la Yordan. And then they could start to, compete with each other in that respect. It doesn't look as, because the whole point with Aaron Judge was always that his numbers, even if you started to value guys' defense a little bit more, little things like that, his offensive numbers were so disproportionate to everybody else's. You said, who cares about all the other aspects of it? But if Yordan is there as like 1B offensively too, or the same thing, then all of a sudden you start to look at some other candidates doing other things as well, in addition to Yordan. And I think a more cluttered situation definitely works against Judge, as people are, it's human nature. I think voters tend to itch to do something different. And
Sure.
I do think that this is going to be wide freaking open, but then Judge has a couple of the months that we're used to, and all of a sudden it becomes, the Judge show again. Who knows?
So LeBron James, I'm pulling up his basketball reference page right now, 22-time All-Star, 21-time All-NBA, a 4-time MVP. LeBron should probably have 3 more MVPs to his name right now, but voter fatigue got in the way. Ohtani, I don't think voter fatigue is going to get in the way. He could be setting MVP records, but Judge, I do think voter fatigue could get in the way here, to your point. And Yordan should be in the conversation. J-Ram should be in the conversation. And oh, by the way, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is hitting 354. And oh, by the way, Mike Trout has found the fountain of youth. And there are a couple other guys that jump out here in the American League right now. Early goings like War Total, you can look at Dylan Dingler, you can look at Kevin McGonigal. They're not winning the MVP. Ben Rice is not going to win the MVP. I love Ben Rice so much, but 244 WRC plus is really fun to look at through 21 games. He's not going to win the American League MVP, but I look at Toronto. It's really early. They're decimated by injury. If Vladdy's hitting 350 and he hits 330 this year and he has 30 to 35 homers and Toronto wills their way into a postseason chase, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to get MVP love. Yordan Alvarez, I know this has been a start from down under, not Australia for the Houston Astros, but if the Astros somehow just stick around at a not very good AL West right now, Yordan will get MVP love. It is team dependent to a certain extent, but when you look at these guys, and I want to start with your take on Yordan because I feel like you haven't been able to wax poetic on the show about what Yordan Alvarez is doing just yet. Go ahead and give me the Yordan pitch and then other guys that jump out to you in this race.
That might be the thing, is Yordan might put together the best contact power season we've seen in the StatCast era. And I say the StatCast era because we just wouldn't have the same barometers to be able to compare, right? Because some of these power guys that just hit the ball so hard, so frequently and walk that their batting average ends up being pretty high. A la Judge, even though he's towards the lower end of qualified hitters in overall contact rate. If Yordan Alvarez puts together, it basically extrapolates what he's doing right now. And I'm not saying a 225 WRC plus, but continuing to walk 7% more than he's striking out and only strike out at a 10% clip. Like if we're looking at a guy that has a WRC plus in the 180 to 200 range and he's striking out below 15% of the time, this would be one of the greatest offensive seasons we've ever seen, but also that affirmatively that we can measure with the metrics that we're able to measure with. And I think that needs to be part of the calculus now as we vote on awards, is we have so much information at our disposal. And I guess the surface level stats are, of course, very important. But when guys are doing things metrically that we've never seen that also, corroborate the ridiculous output, I think you got to look at that. And we're looking at a player here that contact rate wise is in the upper echelon of the league, but then is also pacing the league in homers. So if you get a guy that's going to hit you 40 plus or 50 potentially, which is what he's on pace for, and he's not whiffing at all, I don't know how you look anywhere else than that guy for the MVP, and especially if he's near a 200 WRC plus. But I think the number one thing that stands out to me is that he literally is the perfect hitter right now. Like right now, he feels like an MLB The Show when you can just manipulate the overalls and completely jack up all of the sliders where there's no flaw in the guy and it's almost an automatic home run. Like he doesn't chase, he doesn't whiff, he hits the ball as hard as anybody. It's at optimal angles. He's one of the best left-on-left hitters of all time. It doesn't really, it's almost unfathomable. The only issue, the only flaw has been that we haven't been able to turn injuries off. That button hasn't been working. And that's literally been it. Otherwise, he's perfect. You can talk about the defense, but whatever. Who cares? I'm talking about the bat.
Yeah. Yordan Alvarez, by the way, a 94% zone contact rate right now. That's a better note. Zone contact, again, when you lift the barrel off your shoulder and you fire at a pitch in the strike zone, how many times are you making contact? Yordan Alvarez is at a 93.8% zone contact rate. For reference, Luis Ariz is at 94.4. Xavier Edwards is at 94.4. Yordan is at a higher zone contact rate than guys like Jose Ramirez and slap hitters like Andres Jimenez and Jacob Wilson. He's better than Kevin McGonigal right now in terms of zone contact. It's just amazing that there's a guy that's like 6'6", 250 that can hit a ball 118 miles an hour that is at a 94% zone contact rate, and he doesn't chase. It's like if Nico Horner had juice, like serious juice. That's what we're talking about with Yordan Alvarez at the moment.
That's the craziest part, is usually these insane contact guys chase. That's the biggest frustration with Jacob Wilson and Luis Ariz, is because those guys are almost always in swing mode because they feel like they can get to everything. So when you're at a zone contact rate that is, and he's historically been in the upper 80s, like Yordan has. That's the amazing part.
Yeah.
You're looking at a 70 hit tool that right now is playing like an 80, and then 70 to 80 power. We've never seen anything like that. Like the scouting grades would be a joke if you were to try to compare that to what he's doing right now. Historically, it's always been kind of like 60, 70 hit tool and then 70 power, which is already outrageous with 70 plate discipline. Like it's legitimately 80s across the board right now. And that's why I think if we see him stay healthy, this could be one of the best offensive seasons we've ever seen. I don't think that's crazy to say on April 21st.
No, this could all be a moot point because Aaron Judge so far has 9 homers, 16 driven in. He's got a 928 OPS. And again, he could go berserk, but Yordan Alvarez, what he is doing is just generational. Next hot take coming up in a moment.
By setting the play-in up like this, what the NBA is letting everybody know is that the back-to-backs are completely unacceptable and the worst thing about their schedule. And these fools,
now they give them 3 days off for one game. Yeah.
They're so scared of back-to-backs. They go, not even in the play-in could we dream of giving anybody a back-to-back.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
It looks like Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler have replaced Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson as must-see golf TV. 14 million people on average watch the Masters on Sunday on CBS. That's not including Paramount Plus. It's up 8% from last year, and it just about tied what was probably the best Masters Sunday performance. That was in 2015 when Jordan Spieth won it.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
We may be talking about this as one of the best divisions in baseball. It's not generally something we do, but if the Pirates just hold court and the Reds just hold court and the Cubs are in this thing, the Brewers are going to be there in the end too. I mean, that's 4 of the 5 teams. I do think the Cardinals are going to push back at some point. They'll fall back a little bit, but I got 4 teams with a possibility of making the postseason here, Donnie.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Whatever your next job is, the first 24 hours, it's going to be a rehashing of this. Mm-hmm. You have to suck that up. You can't avoid that. Like, I haven't been in prison in 7 years.
But people do
and
bring it
every
up.
story written about me still references the fact that I got in trouble.
Right.
So, unfortunately, you have to live with that the rest of your professional career.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Just Baseball Show continues, of course, as always, brought to you by BetMGM. Jack McMullen, Aram Leighton, Peyton Genus. My next hot take for you is a pitching take. Dylan Cease was at 99 pitches through 4 1/3 innings yesterday. Cease only lasted 5 innings, but Dylan Cease K'd 12 in Anaheim last night. Dylan Cease is pacing Major League Baseball right now in punch-outs, and through 5 turns in the rotation, Dylan Cease has 44 Ks in 25 2/3 innings. He's got a 2.10 ERA. Opponents are hitting 200 against him, and he has yet to be barreled, I think. No homers against Dylan Cease so far in his front 5 turns. So my take for you, there was only one guy last year, and the last guy to do that before that was Spencer Strider in his 280 K season, I believe, in 2023. I think Dylan Cease has a 250 strikeout season. What's your take on that?
It's kind of hard to argue right now. Just look at the hitter reactions. And like this is one where you can look at all the metrics. They're all off the charts, right? Opponents are chasing 40% of the time. It's one of the highest figures you're going to see from a starting pitcher. And as a result, they're striking out 40% of the time. I think the biggest thing with him is that it looks like the stuff across the board is just ratcheted up a little bit. And then with Cease now, like he's effectively wild. When he's off a little bit, I think you see him get just wild and take himself out of situations here. He's getting himself back into counts. Like, yes, he's still walking hitters at a pretty high clip, but for the most part, he's able to turn the page and lock back in, whether it's getting back into a count or when that bat gets away from him, saying, all right, take first base. I'm just going to strike the next guy out. And that's like the Blake Snell thing that we had seen, through the stretches where he was so good as well. I think he's going to get pretty darn close to that. And I don't see how he doesn't, because again, he is going a little bit deeper into outings and giving himself more opportunities to rack up these Ks. Was it 2 outings already with 12 Ks this year?
Yeah. So we're not sitting here saying like, oh, I really don't think anybody watching or listening to this show right now is saying, come on, be more gutsy. Give us 300 punch-outs. 300 punch-outs is probably a thing of the past at this point. And honestly, it went away post-COVID, I think. If you're looking at post-COVID baseball, there have been 3 250K seasons. Garrett Cole in 2022, he punched out 257. In 2023, Spencer Strider struck out 281. And then last year, Garrett Crochet struck out 255. So we are lucky to maybe get one guy at 250 punch-outs. I'm not going to push it to 300 because that's unrealistic. This is take theater. Notice the bottom ticker does not say hot take theater. That's why I push it to 250. There are a couple other guys that could flirt with that. I have no idea what the Brewer usage of Jacob Mizorowski is going to be, but Mizorowski right now is north of 40 punch-outs already. A couple other guys near the top of the league. Gavin Williams is at 40 strikeouts. Jose Soriano at 39 Ks through 5 turns. Sanchez is at 39. Schlittler is at 36. I think the only guy, honestly, with Cease, just based on limitations and can you throw enough innings, can you make him enough starts? The only guy that can maybe flirt with 250 this year is probably Sanchez, the way that he has started and the way that he has guys off kilter. But Cease just has way more potent strikeout stuff. And that slider and the Bugs Bunny changeup, just insane what's going on right now, man.
Yeah, so of course we had the Crochet last year at 255. The crazy one to me is like looking at some of the 300s that we've actually had like in this lifetime. It's just I almost forgot that Justin Verlander got to 300 in 2019. That's a pretty crazy number for him to get to. But I agree. Like I think you could push it maybe to 260, 265, but that would still be like 40 strikeouts more than Dylan Cease's career high at 224. So I think you could push it a little higher. I think you could get a little bit edgier, but I still think that's a pretty crazy call out. Cause again, even Tarek Skubal last year was 9K shy of the 250 plateau. And that was a pretty perfect pitching season.
Yeah. And Skubal, Skeens could maybe get there, but I don't know. It doesn't really seem like Skeens has the K stuff that I guess we were anticipating. Honestly, I thought Crochet could repeat, but can you, we've got about a minute left in this segment. Can you shed some light on why you think this is happening to Crochet right now? Because Garrett Crochet has struggled mightily in a couple of different starts now, like major blips on the radar.
It's wild. I think it just shows you how hard it is to just consistently be great. I think a little bit of it has just been the execution side of things. And yeah, I mean, you look at the expected ERA, expected batting average, both are in the 20th percentile in Major League Baseball. And I wish I had a specific answer, but when you look at just the heat maps of where the pitch locations are, like he loves that cutter, right? And that cutter has been over the heart of the plate a lot more than it has been in the past this year. And that's a pitch he throws nearly 30% of the time. You look at the sinker. That's a pitch that he usually likes to wear out the bottom of the zone and working off the plate away. That's been closer towards the center of the plate more frequently. So I think it's fallen behind in counts and then a lot of misses over the middle that have him just, not really able to leverage that big time swing and miss stuff that usually works in different directions.
Yep. So Garrett Crochet, he's really struggling right now, but yeah, that's my take. Dylan Cease, he gets to 250 punch outs. Again, other guys that could get there, maybe Sanchez, maybe Schlittler if he throws enough, and maybe Mizorowski if he does throw enough. But we shall see halfway home when we come back. More hot takes on the Just Baseball Show. Just Baseball Show, as always, presented by BetMGM. We pivot to the team hot takes here, and I'm going to give you one that's rather large right now, and they both, I guess, work against the LA Dodgers, because a lot of baseball fans would just be sitting here and saying, you know what, it's the Dodger Invitational. They're going for 3 straight. It's Dodgers versus the field, yada, yada, yada. The first part that I'm going to throw you is in the division, and then I will get a little bit deeper with an AL team. Within the division, I think San Diego can really push the Dodgers atop the National League West right now. I understand the depth of the Dodgers, but at the end of the day, San Diego's a game back right now. They've started 15-7. They've been hot as can be. I think they've won 9 of their last 10. The Dodgers, meanwhile, are 16-6. But Edwin Diaz just underwent surgery to take loose bodies out of his elbow. It sounds like a 3 to 4 month recovery, likely 3-month recovery for Edwin Diaz. They signed a closer to have a closer. They have had a closer identity problem over the last handful of years. It has been the Dodgers' non-fatal flaw because they've won back-to-back World Series, but it has been the Dodger flaw. And now the guy that you just signed to a $50 million contract to handle the 9th inning cannot handle the 9th inning for the bulk of the season. I'm not saying the Padres win the division. I'm just saying they're going to be pesky as heck, and they're just going to stick around atop the NL West with the Dodgers, and they're going to give them a fight this year.
I like it. I know Peter does so well on his futures, and I know he's going to win more than he doesn't on those future predictions and those future picks. But this was the one that I was a little bit skeptical of, just because when he was leaning Padres under, just because I think this offense is so much better from where we saw it. Remember, at this point last year, at the start of the season, the back half of that lineup was horrendous. Now the catching situation is even far better, because I think Fermin is still going to be a solid player compared to what they've had in the past. Even as bad as he's been, he's grading out always well as a defender. But even if he struggles, looks like Luis Campusano is starting to really settle in as a player, both defensively and offensively there.
And real quick, sorry to cut you off there, but I thought it was really cool to hear Campusano talk about what having Craig Stammen as a manager does for him. Campusano has been a project for a really long time, so much so that Craig Stammen was a teammate of Luis Campusano's and a former battery mate of Luis Campusano's. Campusano, we still consider like this young catching project, and we'll see. He's not a vet by any means, but Campusano was talking about the confidence that having a former teammate as his manager in Stammen instills in him. I just thought that subplot was a perfect microcosm of what's happening in San Diego right now.
And I think with Campusano, the last piece, it just seemed like it was mental, so I think having that comfort and settling in at the big league level in general, I think is absolutely huge. I think a lot of things are going well internally too. You're seeing the pitching side of things, the development of a Randy Vasquez, but also, and that's what they've always leaned into with Ruben Niebla. But how about Walker Buehler? And I hope he can continue doing it, but he looked really good last time out. He's talking about how good he feels, giving credit to the coaches. And I mean, the velo was back up last outing. We're going to see him pitch, I think, today or tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, again. And I mean, if Buehler is just even 60% of what we've seen from him, I think that's huge for this rotation. And then that this is going to be the best bullpen in Major League Baseball. If it's not statistically, I trust it more than any bullpen in Major League Baseball. You hope Jeremiah Estrada gets back. Even within a couple months, they're fine, because they just got Jason Adam back. And then the Nick Pivetta, Joe Musgrove wrinkle is huge. But I think for the regular season side of things, this offense is going to keep you afloat. You have King and Vasquez holding it down a little bit at the top. At least, you hope Waldron can just come and eat some innings for you. And the bullpen's going to be fantastic. I love this offense. I think they're going to rake. I like the bench. My problem is I don't know how anyone keeps up with the Dodgers when you have Dalton Rushing hitting twice a week and it's a home run, every other at bat. And then the depth that they have, Ha-Seong Kim can just plug in there and be great. And then the River Ryan is just getting bored in AAA. I think the Padres get outlasted, but I'm buying that they can keep this thing closer. I don't think the Dodgers are going to run away and have definitively the biggest gap between first and second place of any division. I definitely think I'm buying that I'm buying that it won't be the biggest gap between first and second place. That I can give you.
I'm in on that. Okay, so I'm going to pivot us to an AL team in a moment. But before that, I do want to shed some light on the bullpen, because everybody knows about Mason Miller to this point, right? Mason Miller could be a Cy Young contender in the National League. Wandy Peralta is just rinse and repeat, be good and be a fireman through 10 appearances. Wandy, 10 innings of 2-run ball with 10 Ks. But why should the world be aware of who Bradley Rodriguez is?
Oh,
You have liked him for a long time. He's disgusting. 12 and a third innings, a 1-run ball.
he is gross. And they have more guys like that I think could potentially still pop up and help them. But Rodriguez is someone that's really emerged. By the way, still only 22 years old. They have like 6 different guys that I would trust at leverage. And Rodriguez has just been more about the experience for him and just getting more comfortable. But when you have a fastball that, I think just has the sheer velocity that his has in the upper 90s, touching north of 100 miles per hour, and it's a 4-seamer and a sinker, and then a changeup that looks the same off of that just drops below it, and then a bridge cutter in the upper 80s. Like, these relievers that have 4 pitches they're just different. I don't know how you game plan for that. You barely see the guy. Usually you can okay, fastball, slider, I'm going to be on one and hope. With Bradley and some of these other guys, you can't do that. And I think that's what makes him so good.
All right, here's my next take for you. And this is the hottest one that I have. I think the Yankees get their first World Series since 2009. I think the Yankees are built to beat the Dodgers. Is that fair?
That's a fun one. I'm glad you brought this
fun
one up with Peter
now,
not on the show.
Yeah, invalidate it for me. I would love to not see it. Just invalidate it for me, please.
I'll try my best to invalidate it because I do think the pitching side of things is really scary. The Garrett Cole's already trending back, Rodon's not too far behind, and then the one part I will look at, and I know they've graded out statistically fine. I don't love the bullpen. I don't think Camilo Doval is very good. I think he was one of those guys that we saw the best right when he came up. I just don't know if he has that definitive put away stuff that you want from a guy like him.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of reliance on Tim Hill and Brent Hedrick, and like those guys are really solid in the regular season. How much do you trust them in leverage? Fernando Cruz is your second best reliever in terms of swing and miss leverage stuff. He walks the world. And I like David Bednar a lot, but he's not necessarily Greg Maddux out there either. So I think this bullpen, when everything's clicking, everyone's hot, it can be pretty good. But I also think it's a definitive weakness for them. That's the only thing I can really point towards and say this will do them in, because I think the offense is only going to get better as other guys start to inevitably pick up, and this pitching staff is stupid.
Okay, so my counter to that is, why can't Brian Cashman pick up the phone on June 10th and call Dana Brown and say, we want Brian Abreu in a walk here?
And then just fix him. I know he's really struggled, but they could do that. They've very aggressively addressed the bullpen in the last couple years. And I think that's something that you'll see Cashman do again. So that's the thing. Like, I'm just trying to give you some pushback. The bullpen I don't like at all, but you hedge that with ridiculous rotation depth. I think Luis Gil ends up being in that bullpen. We'll see. Maybe he ends up performing better when he is relegated to that role. But this pitching staff, man, it's crazy. You pair that with Ben Rice, emerging into this offensive star, whether he maintains this or not. I think it's very obvious that this guy's going to absolutely rake. And then all the other pieces that I don't really have to sell you on. I think the big thing too would be shortstop / third base, just the left side of the infield. Like, McMahon can't really hit. And then it's Caballero and Volpe. Like, Caballero hasn't been swinging it great either. That would be the other thing that could kind of do them in. But if those guys are defending at an elite clip and giving you some value on the base paths, at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to do you in.
So I'm excited to see a healthy Volpe when he does eventually come back. Like, I would be curious to see what a healthy Anthony Volpe looks like. And then just taking a peek at this lineup right now, man, Bellinger is walking more than he's striking out. Grisham is off to a slow start batting average-wise. He's hitting $167, but he's got a .321 on base percentage. He's walking more than he's striking out. Judge has 9 homers. Rice has 8 homers. He's got 18 walks drawn already. Through 22 games, the New York Yankees have drawn 109 walks, and their .733 OPS as a team is 6th best in baseball. They're also top 10 in baseball in staff ERA, even with a middling bullpen. And then talking about the rotation depth that you have, okay, Heel goes to the bullpen. Maybe Weathers goes to the bullpen too when you get 2 arms back. And Ryan Weathers has punched out 36 and
I was going to say, you can't. You almost can't. He's
right
too
now.
good.
It's insane what's going on, man. We've got about 30 seconds left here, but can you get behind that? Like, if it's not the Dodgers, and obviously it's an uphill battle, and again, 15 seconds, just yes or no, quick reason why. Are the Yankees pick 2 clearly or no?
Right now, yes, because the pitching can go toe-to-toe, and again, I don't need to sell you on the top of that offense.
I think the Yankees can win their first World Series since 2009 here in 2026. We shall see. One more take when we come back.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, like, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let me understand this, Joe. Are we going to have any broadcast games on TV anymore? It's all streaming?
You got to pay to watch here, folks. That's just the way it's going to be, one way or the other. And I'm sure this will satisfy the FCC looking into the coercion that's going on here with the NBA NFL broadcast rights. Yeah, this is all par for the course, I think.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's all these idiots out there sounding off on Tiger right now. See, it's so easy to go after a guy that's hurt. He's hurt. Whether you call it whatever you want. He's got a little bit of an issue that he's going to fix. Okay, they're attacking. Attack. Why don't you all shut up and let him go do his thing? He had to leave the country to do it because of privacy? That's nauseating to me.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Now, I see him 15th, 16th, somewhere in that ballpark, and I think that makes sense, Donnie. I don't see him in the top 10. I really don't. I mean, when you look at, let's say, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you start going into that, teams like the Cowboys or the Vikings or the Chiefs, and, could they take a flyer?
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
All right, the Just Baseball show continues here. We just talked about the Yankees possibly winning the World Series. We talked about the Padres contending with the Dodgers in the National League West, and now I want to pivot us to a position. And my last hot take that I have for you before we get to Clutch Performers presented by Morgan & Morgan is that I think Ketel Marte's reign atop the second base power rankings may be over. I think that this is a battle for the best second baseman in baseball title. I think Bryce Turang is battling atop that. And I think Nico Horner is battling atop that. These two guys, their start to the year have been absolutely incredible. Horner, through 22 games, has driven in 21 guys, a share of the Major League lead. He's hitting .322, and he's got one of the best zone contact rates in Major League Baseball. Meanwhile, Turang is walking like he really never has. He's hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He's swiping bags again. He stole 50 bases in 2024. Why can't he do that again in 2026? And he's hitting .300. These guys have been neck and neck, and I love that Peyton pulled this up. Since the beginning of the 2024 season, Bryce Turang has an 11.8 B-WAR, Nico Horner at 11.7. They've played almost an identical number of games. Turang in 330 games, Horner in 329 games. You are splitting hairs between these two, and I do think that these two are the gold standard of second base play in Major League Baseball right now.
Yeah, that's the part that's really difficult because like Ketel is so different. Like Ketel is going to just go hit you 35 home runs and net neutral defend like at second base, and you're going to be happy with it, obviously. And he's still going to DH a decent bit here and there too. When you look at the WAR output, I think there's a very real scenario where both those guys could turn out at higher WAR. But if I'm hitting 30 homers from Ketel Marte and a 150 WRC plus, and he's not a liability defensively, I'm probably still taking that. That said, I think by the end of this year, it's not looked at as like Ketel Marte, to your point, and then everybody else. I do think that when you have a guy that's, one of the best, I just so far and ahead offensively, everybody else at the position, I do think that is a unique opportunity for a switch hitter with that kind of power. But to your point, like that what you get from Turang and Horner is really hard to match. And if Ketel Marte isn't 30% better than them offensively or 20% better than them offensively, then they make up that ground with the speed, with the defense, and with all the little intangibles that they bring to the table. So I'm going to be like the status quo guy here and say, look, Ketel hasn't even turned it on yet. He's got 4 homers. Like, I think Ketel is going to hit 30 plus, and he's going to heat up here. But it would not surprise me at all, especially the fact that Turang already has the 4 homers in 19 games. And, Nico got his extension. He's probably playing a little relaxed, and not that he doesn't already. He seems like he plays as relaxed as anybody in baseball. And I mean that in a complimentary way. I'm going to side with the 30-plus homers, but, man, I don't feel great about it. I think both those guys could end up exceeding Ketel Marte and WAR this year.
I want to spend some time on Nico Hoerner here, because Nico Hoerner, there are 5 qualified hitters in Major League Baseball to this point that have an overall contact rate over 90%. Now, in terms of zone contact, Steven Kwan has yet to swing and miss in the strike zone, if I'm not mistaken. It's an 100% zone contact rate, at least according to Fangraphs as it stands right now. But Liam Hicks is at 99%, Nico Hoerner at 98.7%. But the 5 guys with a contact rate over 90% among qualified hitters in baseball entering play on Tuesday: Liam Hicks, shout out, go Fish; Luis Ariz, Steven Kwan, Chandler Simpson, and Nico Hoerner. Awesome that Chandler Simpson's in that conversation. But Hoerner doing this with some pop, with situational excellence, and playing maybe the best second base defense in the league. That 9-figure extension the Cubs just gave him, number one, Cubs fans can relax right now, because we were talking about Hoerner being a possible trade chip. I love that Nico Hoerner is a piece of the Cubs moving forward. He should be a face of the franchise type of talent there. It's clear that he is, and it's weird to say, like, he is the more valued one of the middle infield tandem between him and Dansby. And they paid Dansby $170, but they paid the shortstop tax on that. Hoerner got paid the way he should have been paid. And I'm just really excited for Cubs fans that Nico Hoerner gets to be their star.
How nice when you're building a roster, if you're Jed Hoyer, or just reshuffling a roster where you have your middle infield so taken care of, where you know that they're, even on a down year, going to combine for like 5 WAR. And if they have a good year offensively, both of them could combine for 8 plus. And like, that is just something that I think gives you such a strong foundation for your ball club. And then all the different things that he brings to the table. It's funny comparing these two, though, like comparing Turang to him. And I know that this becomes a contentious thing because Brewers and Cubs fans love to argue, at least from everything I see online. It becomes a little bit of the same conversation, too, as like, I think Turang's like a middle ground between Hoerner and Marte, where you're not going to get as much defense and you're not going to get as much contact as you get with Hoerner, but you're going to get more power, more selectivity. And then with Ketel, you're all the way on the other end of just the very offensive-driven iteration of that profile. And I find myself, like, I love all 3 of them. I feel like if there's one guy that's kind of best equipped to maybe dethrone Ketel, I do think it's Turang, because he has the ability to defend at a better clip than we've seen in the last couple years. But also, we're seeing that power uptick here where if he hits 25 homers, which I think he can easily do this year, Turang, and he's defending at a decent clip and he's walking at because he's so selective now all of a sudden, I think the ceiling could be really, really high. The thing with Turang is, you could have a little bit more whiff creep in. Again, the defense could be a little bit more frustrating. So I think the floor with a Hoerner is so high. I just don't know if the ceiling is in a position where he can eclipse Ketel without, Ketel giving a lot away. I feel like Turang maybe has the pop potential to take it there. But I feel the most confident if you told me you had to pick one guy to have 3+ WAR at the end of the season, or, you're in trouble. I think I would take Hoerner and sleep soundly at night, because he doesn't even have to have his best season to almost guarantee that.
It's kind of awesome that they're both in the same division and they're separated by like an hour, door to door, Wrigley Field to AmFam. I mean, this is a rivalry, and there's like a rivalry within the rivalry. And I hope nobody forgot the NLDS last year, because that was a 5-game heavyweight bout. And this is going to be really fun to watch Hoerner and Turang kind of slug it out over the next couple of years. There are other irons in the fire, like, Jazz Chisholm. Of course, Jazz can turn it on and really get going when the weather warms up a little bit. And Marte, to your point, like Marte could hit 30 home runs. Ozzie Albies is also swinging the crap out of the bat right now. So, like, Ozzie Albies, I can never eliminate him. For some reason, I just have a super soft spot for Ozzie Albies and the way that he swung it when Ozzie was at his best. And we're saying, how did this guy sign a 7-year, $35 million contract? But the second base position is in really good hands right now. Not as good as the shortstop position, but the second base position is pretty darn taken care of. All right, so those were my hot takes here. 15 seconds left in this segment. Which one was the most ludicrous? Was it the Yankee World Series one?
Technically, yes, but I liked it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would say, yeah. Or the Dodgers. I would say the Dodgers keeping pace, or the Padres keeping pace with the Dodgers.
All right, tying a bow on the Just Baseball show here, and that brings us to our Clutch Performers of the Week, presented by our friends at Morgan and Morgan. When we talk about clutch in baseball, we're talking about the player you want at the plate or on the mound in the bottom of the ninth with the season on the line. It's about power, it's about results, and most importantly, it's about having someone in your corner who does not blink under pressure. And look, life can throw some nasty curveballs. If you're ever injured in an accident, whether it's a car crash, slip and fall, workplace injury, you need the same clutch mentality on your side. You don't just need a lawyer. You need the heavy hitters. You need Morgan & Morgan. Why Morgan & Morgan? Because they are America's largest injury law firm. They have over 1,000 attorneys and 35 years of experience fighting for the people. Think about this. They've recovered over $30 billion for their clients. That's not just a win. That's a dynasty, folks. Whether it's a fender bender or something much more serious, they have the resources to go the distance. The best part, scouting report on your case is free. Submitting a claim is incredibly easy. You can do it right from your phone in 8 clicks or less. It's faster than a pitching change. And get this, the fee is free unless they win. They don't get paid unless you get paid. If you're injured, check out Morgan & Morgan. You can go to forthepeople.com. When the stakes are high, don't settle for a base hit. Go with the firm that hits home runs. This is a paid advertisement. Now, let's get into this week's Clutch Performers, and we're doing it in a different way, okay? We're not necessarily going to do it by walk-off homers or by eighth-inning homers or by save situations. When you can flip an at-bat upside down, that is strategic excellence. And I want to talk about some of the catchers that have been best at ABS so far this year, because this is a development that like literally every casual baseball fan is asking me about, and even non-baseball fans. What do you think of the ABS, the challenge system? People that say, what do you think of the ABS? Chances are they have no idea that it stands for automated ball strike. It's so much fun to watch the challenge system come out to play in such a humongous way at the outset of this year. And I just wanted to showcase the top 10 catchers in baseball in terms of just correctly overturned ABS challenge calls. And one of the best, just from a projection and a percentage standpoint, Dylan Dingler in Detroit. We have raved about him constantly. But, dude, he's 11 for 13 in the challenge system. That's just another wrinkle added to his game that makes no sense. And this guy may be a top 3 catcher in the sport.
I mean, that's a huge separator there, too. I think that's the fun thing about this is like it is going to be a very important supplemental value to framing as well. Like you could steal strikes in 2 ways now. You can steal strikes by one, presenting them well consistently and hoping that hitters don't challenge them. But two, you could steal strikes by properly challenging calls that were, one or two pitches off or one or two balls off, or that in either direction, and just consistently being right versus wrong. Because there's also some gravity to being wrong. It's not just like, oh, great, you stole a strike. It's also good you didn't burn a challenge for your hitters, or you again later at higher leverage later in the ball game. So like being wrong is like compoundingly bad. Dinkler, dude, he's just got a great feel for the zone. He frames well, and he's stealing strikes with the ABS.
So there are a couple other guys that jump out to me on that catcher list. Salvador Perez has overturned 16 calls. Now he's challenging all the time. But there are some not very good defensive catchers that are operating at a pretty high clip here, and that adds a whole bunch of value to you. And the guy that jumps out to me is Hunter Goodman in Colorado. Yeah. Goodman won a Silver Slugger last year. He had a 30 home run season. He's 13 for 17 in the ABS department. So we're talking about this guy being a not great defensive catcher. Okay, the running game is still going to be a big factor for Hunter Goodman caught games. Okay, maybe framing is going to be a big factor there. But if he understands the strike zone and if he can use ABS to his advantage, for me, I'm going to have to recalibrate at some point soon and start calling Hunter Goodman a better defensive catcher than what I once thought he was.
Yeah, because, again, if you're stealing a couple strikes per game with the ABS, or even if it's 1 to 2, you look at the elite framers, it grades out to roughly 1 to 2 stolen strikes per game. Like that's a lot of the best framers that we're looking at are stealing about that many. So that's the craziest part, is this actually is going to become, I wouldn't say almost as valuable, because it's not as consistent. And I feel like it's hard to fully quantify now this, because you're also, even when you're not stealing strikes, if you're really good at presenting, you're putting hitters in a very complex situation where they got to decide, whether they're going to challenge or not. And I think that in itself is valuable, but this is going to be more valuable, I think, than people were anticipating. And the fact that we have the ability to measure it with StatCast, I think, is really important. And yeah, if you're not a good receiver, this can chip away at that pretty significantly. I look at even a Mitch Garver. Garver's 6 for 6 for the Mariners. Like, Garver's not a great defensive catcher at this stage of his career, but that's a great value add for a veteran here.
Such a huge value add. So the ABS challenge system been such a joy to see implemented in baseball. Very pitch clocky. As soon as everybody laid eyes on it, they were like, you know what? This thing ain't half bad. And now it's going to become a very valuable piece of this. That'll do it for the Just Baseball show. As always, thank you to Peyton Ginas, hitting all the right buttons and just being a kick butt teammate. For Aram Leighton, I'm Jack McMullen saying so long. Thank you so much for watching and listening wherever you may have watched or listened. We will talk to you a couple of times later this week on the Just Baseball show.
The New York Knickerbockers are NBA champions. Da 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 da. Canyon of Heroes, parade, convertibles, hot chicks in Knick jerseys. The Knicks finally get over the hump and win an NBA title. And there's me, and there's Jalen Brunson.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
There are guys are great. We don't know that about Cal Raleigh. It is possible that Cal Raleigh isn't one of the 5 best catchers in baseball by the end of this season. And that's the difference. It's not possible that Aaron Judge isn't one of the 5 best outfielders in baseball. That's not on the board. It's on the board for Cal Raleigh.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This team feels slow. It feels old. It feels uninteresting. It just kind of feels like a lot of guys who are quality ball players, some big contracts, but are just like lethargic when they're out there. Like Manny Machado moves in slow motion. So does Nick Castellanos. So does Xander Bogaerts. So do a lot of these players in this lineup. And I might be piling on a little bit too deep, but this was supposed to be a contender for a World Series.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
There is one cardinal rule in sports media. You do not mess with the game or the ability for people to watch the game. These streaming giants better figure out how to deliver a live sporting event without any hitches, because broadcast television understood this for decades, and they know, Donnie, hey, there is nothing more in